Nat, a graduate from the class of 2014, was a proud member of the Kirby House, captain of the varsity girls squash team, and the former academic rep on student council. While at Lawrenceville, Natalie received countless awards on her outstanding character and engagement in the community. She certainly carried these traits with her to Princeton University, where she was a Camp Chasm volunteer coordinator, involved in the entrepreneurship incubator, and played on the varsity squash team, which was ranked #1 in the country. At Princeton, Nat won the prestigious A. James Fisher Jr. Prize for outstanding civic engagement and the McKinsey Undergraduate Women's Impact Award. Nat graduated from Princeton with a degree in English and a teaching certificate that prepared her to be a student teacher this past fall at Trenton Central High School. But perhaps her most pivotal experience while at Princeton was founding HomeWorks, the nonprofit organization she is here to talk about tonight. I know we are so excited to have Nat and her students from HomeWorks with us tonight, so please join me in welcoming Natalie Tung, Lawrenceville class of 2014, to the stage.
Good evening, Headmaster Murray, faculty, staff, and the Lawrenceville community. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm honored, humbled, but most of all, quite honestly shocked to be standing here today. It was not too long ago that I got a concussion from the most intense and competitive sport that Lawrenceville has to offer, house frisbee. Convinced my friends, and myself for that matter, that wrapping our entire bodies with saran wrap and rolling down the stairs in Kennedy would be a fun experience. And spending my time playing pranks with my friends, the most successful one being when I got around 70 people in my grade to text Amber Boykins, my dear, dear poor friend, 3 words, "I see you," throughout the entire day. I promise, guys, I'm not like this anymore. This was behind me a long time ago. As you heard from Dev's kind introduction, I graduated in 2014, and to this day, I still miss being a member of the best house Kirby, going to JV lacrosse practices on Woods Fields, riding long bus rides with my varsity squash team, and hosting things like Hunger Games Day with my fellow student council members. After Lawrenceville, I studied English and teacher prep at Princeton University, and now I'm living in the area. I want to thank Mrs. Kossoff and Dev for having me here today. I also want to give a huge shout out to both faculty and staff members who have not only supported and cared for me during my time at Lawrenceville, but extended the support and further encouragement throughout my time after graduation. I also want to embarrass my little cousin, Hi Izzy Sung, she's sitting right over there, and my little brother, Mitchell Tung, who go here now. Dai, can you please come get your squash shoe after this? Sorry, I had to do this now because he never replies my text, so please come. Okay. Most importantly, I wanted to take this time to introduce these amazing young women who are here with me today. Jessica, Cameron, Nakazana, Aaliyah, and DeRay. Did I miss any of you guys? No? You guys are... Yeah, there are some scholars who couldn't make it tonight, so I just want to make sure I called everyone out here. These young women are former scholars of HomeWorks Trenton, which I'll talk about in just a second. When I was first asked to speak for MLK Day, I was hesitant and conflicted. MLK Day is a day that celebrates the great Dr. King, but more importantly, it is about how he worked to empower people to uplift themselves within their own communities. As an Asian and Asian American woman, I knew I could speak about service, but did not think I could speak in light of the legacy of an African American man who served his community so profoundly during the Civil Rights Movement. Though I can't speak from that perspective, what I can talk about is how I have come to understand service since my time at Lawrenceville. Over the past few years, I have had the opportunity and privilege to work with a predominantly African American and Latinx community in Trenton through teaching at the local high school and through the nonprofit that I started, HomeWorks Trenton. So I'm going to spend most of my time talking about HomeWorks today, But don't worry, I'm not going to be speaking the whole time. I'm going to be playing a video in the middle of the talk, and most importantly, several HomeWorks scholars here today will talk to you about their thoughts and experiences. Anyways, back to HomeWorks. Here's just a little bit of background of how I started this nonprofit. I love Lawrenceville. I love that Lawrenceville fosters a culture of learning and that my friends and I enjoyed having intellectual and ethical conversations back at the house. And you all know, by living with our classmates and teachers, what we learn inside the classroom is always reinforced outside the classroom. But more importantly, I love the house system. To this day, I'm still so grateful for how all the women, the girls, Miss Calvert, Miss Sachs, Miss Martinez, and all the duty masters in Kirby transformed me from a timid girl my dad used to call a mouse to a more empathetic and empowered woman. The girls in Kirby are still my best friends today. They are the first ones that I call when I have to talk about problems at work or life. In fact, one of my roommates and best friends from Lawrenceville was also my best friend and roommate in college. This is a more recent photo of us. After graduating Lawrenceville, I started thinking more about the disparity in this amazing opportunity I was afforded at this school. Not everyone across the economic spectrum are included in this narrative. I wanted to find a way to replicate Lawrenceville's boarding experience to students in urban communities where these opportunities are not as accessible. It was during my sophomore year in college, after taking an entrepreneurship class and getting insights from others, I recruited a team, including 3 of my Lawrenceville friends, Elijah Sumners, Vilma Jimenez, and Aurelio Ayala, all who graduated with me to help create this nonprofit HomeWorks. So what is HomeWorks? HomeWorks is an after-school boarding program for middle and high school girls in Trenton. We replicate the benefits of the boarding school system, which you all know include shared responsibility, encouraging each other to succeed, academic and extracurricular enrichment, social and emotional support, a safe and stable environment, global learning without the bureaucracy, high fixed costs, and scalability issues of an actual school. So basically, our girls go to their public schools during the day. Then our bus picks our scholars up at the various schools they attend. Then the scholars head back to our house to have an afternoon snack at 3:30. They then attend workshops on financial literacy, time management, growth mindset, social emotional learning, woman empowerment, safe dating, self-defense, civic engagement, and more. At around 6 p.m., our scholars have dinner family style and then do their chores. At 7:30, they have sisterhood bonding activities, following with free time to hang out and call their parents, which they have to do 2 times a day. Lights out is at 10 p.m. Our scholars board from Sunday nights until Friday mornings so they can reconnect with their family on the weekend. In simple terms, we are replicating my favorite parts of Lawrenceville, the boarding part, in a cost-efficient way. So how did we do this? I'm going to be honest with you. For most of that time, I felt like a headless chicken and made many mistakes along the way. I'm still making mistakes now. But I think there are 4 main things that allowed us to get to where we are now. First, when we came up with this idea, we spent a whole year learning about the strengths and the needs of the Trenton community. We did not talk about HomeWorks, we just listened, because we knew that it was crucial for a solution to be fit for a purpose. It is from hearing and learning from the Trenton community that we were able to create HomeWorks. Second, details are important. In order to make HomeWorks happen, we had to secure everything from hiring a staff, renting a house, licensing, insurance, to all the smaller things like establishing the discipline policy and what we had to buy in our first aid room. Most importantly, we had to figure out the most relevant and effective curriculum for our scholars. Third, team is important and is crucial to determining the success of the startup. Finding people who are passionate and dedicated and who work well together is more important than finding people with skills. And yeah, that's Mrs. Schulte up there. Fourth, the community. Not only have we been able to partner with many local organizations in Trenton and their neighboring communities to make this happen, but more importantly, The community in Trenton has welcomed us with open arms. Our scholars' incredible parents, some who are sitting here today, have trusted us and given us the privilege to work with their amazing daughters. I also just want to take a few seconds to point out Sustainable Fare up on the screen. So many people at Lawrenceville have been so supportive of us, but I do want to give a special shout out to Mr. Giberson and his team at Irwin for donating dinners for our scholars every single night of our program. Thank you so much. Over the past 2 years, we've ran 2 pilots in the summers. Moving forward, we hope to raise enough money to run a 4-year high school program for 40 girls, the same number of girls in a dorm at Lawrenceville. And our big dream, our North Star, is to have chapters of HomeWorks all around the world. So now I'm going to stop here and play a short video of our wonderful scholars here explaining a little bit more about HomeWorks and the service our amazing scholars have done.
Organization that gives women opportunity to come together all over Trenton, New Jersey. HomeWorks is special to me because you get a hands-on experience or a boarding program, and normally boarding programs are so expensive. I am a former HomeWorks scholar. We did a lot of things that helped us come together as sisters. Like what, Cameron? What do we do?
So HomeWorks program, we pick up every morning with real power to plan. We start getting morning routines and we go to summer camp. Whenever we come back from summer camp, we have awesome, fun, exciting new activities here, such as the farm. We went to Princeton, like the Princeton Field Day. We went to the movie before. We had self-defense class and dance class. They even took us out to the ice cream runs. That was fun. Every Sunday, parents and scholars came together with meal and eatery, and then we ate a big dinner. We talked about our cultures and why we ate food. This program is great because you can be successful in the experience of a boarding program while still in the comfort of your own community.
HomeWorks has taught me overall is to be myself and to shine my light around other people.
HomeWorks makes me look like a community, another place you can go.
HomeWorks inspires us to serve and uplift our community. We're capable of using strengths and resources within our community to create change.
So over the summer, HomeWorks service project was to think about problems within your community and figure out what you thought was something that really needed to work on. Our 2 big problems that we had focused on was prostitution and it was gun violence, which was a very big problem so far, but presented to the mayor in a presentation and what ideas that we thought would be able to help this problem with our
I met my best friend with me. We thought of our community class and how to fix it. So we thought of Smart Vision Kids. Smart Vision Kids is a nonprofit organization which specializes in donating prescription glasses to kids. Helping kids get glasses from us because pushing large cost glasses we can't afford or pay for. We can fix up the problem with our solution, just like someone's very to be the first after school program in Trenton. We were inspired by the great impact it had on us. We researched and thought about what can be fixed to make a change in people's lives. It is a vision.
service is just helping the people around you and in communities to make a better world or just a better place for yourself.
Isn't it incredible that 2 of our scholars, both 13 years old? 13 years old, have started this nonprofit? I am blown away by each and every one of them every day. We also have pamphlets that Nakazana and Lavina made over there if you guys want to come at the end and learn more about their nonprofit. Before I hand it over to our scholars, I wanted to end with a few things I learned about service. Number 1, when we first started HomeWorks, there was a temptation to follow the usual model of encouraging students to leave their communities to achieve excellence. But ultimately, we learned that it's important that our scholars know that they can not only succeed within their own community, they can also break the cycle and become leaders to help their community succeed. We are a local solution to a local challenge. Second, as I mentioned earlier, the reason why HomeWorks happened is because of the Trenton community. I have never met a community that has been so accepting and so loving. The community has its own strengths to empower themselves, just as Dr. King empowered his own people to break the cycle of injustice. Third, these scholars and the students I've taught at the high school have not only changed me as a teacher, they've changed me as a friend, a sister, a daughter, and how I see the world. They are some of the most intelligent, empathetic, and resilient people I know. Last, I want to end with this. Dr. King laid the foundation to support and love one another. In his letter from the Birmingham jail, he wrote, "Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection." I'm going to just read that one more time because I know it's a lot to swallow. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection. This quote really means a lot to me because it's a reminder that if we do have the opportunity and privilege to serve, it is our responsibility to educate ourselves and check our biases, because everyone has biases, and being in a position of privilege, which we all are by being here today, biases can be very harmful. We need to not assume that we are doing good, but constantly check ourselves along the way. Perhaps something to remember is that we are learning just as much as we are teaching, and that each community that we step into has its own strengths to empower themselves. As an outsider to the Trenton community, I'm not working for this community. Instead, I'm working alongside this community. Thank you so much. I am now going to hand it over to our HomeWorks scholars who are going to talk about their HomeWorks experience and their favorite Dr. King quotes, and then we'll open up for questions. Thank you.
My name is DeRay. I am a second-year returner of the HomeWorks program, so this is my second year being with Miss Natalie. To me, HomeWorks is basically a community of sisterhood. HomeWorks is the epitome of togetherness and uplifting the fellow women around you. My favorite Dr. King quote is, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." This is my favorite quote because I believe in love more than I believe in hate. I believe that no matter what your circumstances are, how darkly life seems at the moment, there will always be something positive to drive the dark out. We need to stand together, listen to each other, especially those who are different from us, and fight against all the hate in the world.
Hi, my name's Aaliyah, and this is my first year at HomeWorks. And what HomeWorks means to me is that it is a program for a group of young women to come together to change and shape the world of Trenton, New Jersey. And my favorite Dr. King quote is, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." This is my favorite quote because it is a reminder that my ancestors refused to be silent in order to help gain the respect and freedom that I get to live with.
And what HomeWorks means to me is a group of girls who can change real life problems, economic problems, whatever problems that come to us, because the sisterhood and bond that keeps us together is just so good. My favorite Dr. King quote is, "You are not only responsible for what you say, but also what you don't say." This is my favorite quote because when you don't speak out, there will be no change. We need to act on the injustice we see in our communities and the world. We need to be the leaders and create a new change. And this actually helped me start my nonprofit organization, Smart Vision Kids.
Hey, my name is Cameron, and what Homework Meets Me is a place where 10 scholars can come together and do fun activities and bond without any cell phones, which I know a lot of y'all have that right now. Like, I can't see y'all up there, but some of y'all down here I can see. My favorite Dr. King quote is, "Let no man put you low enough to hate him." This is my favorite quote because no matter how hateful someone is against me, I will always remember my worth. I will always be empathetic and kind.
Hi, my name is Jessica, and this is my first year in HomeWorks. To me, HomeWorks is coming together as a group of young girls and expressing your thoughts and opinions and having that sisterly bond that keeps you together. My favorite Dr. King quote is, "The time is always right to do what is right." This is my favorite quote because it reminds me that when we see there is something that needs to change in our communities, there's no time like now to change it. Helping our community makes a difference. If we are silent now, we are giving up valuable time to make things better. Be the one to take a stand. We can change the world. Anybody has any questions now for me, Natalie, or any of the scholars? Ask them. Any questions?
How did you learn about HomeWorks?
Oh, well, during the summer, I went to an entrepreneurship camp where I started my own business. My first year there, I sold tea, and my second year, I sold makeup. And Natalie and HomeWorks came over and just really sold us, and I just was really interested about it. Question?
What do you hope to do with the opportunities that HomeWorks is providing?
Well, from the impact that HomeWorks gave to me, it actually helped me be a better person, actually think about what we should really change in life and stuff like that. So if you really think about it, it helped all of us. It made us go through different changes, everything. Like I heard from last year, HomeWorks, they gave food away, and then this time we got to talk to the mayor and talk about the changes that we need to change in Trenton, and that could really make a change. So just think about it.
I feel as though, both last year and this year, HomeWorks has given me a big opportunity to, be a big sister to younger girls. Even though I have an annoying little sister at home, it gave me an opportunity to have little sisters I wanted. Don't get me wrong, I still love her though. But, it's just really great to see how amazing the bond between all of us are, especially like when if you were in the house, you could see the change from the first day all the way up until last day, even now, where I might get a call from Nakasana or Lavina, or we'll all just text in a group chat, like, you guys want to go to the movies or something, so the bond is there. It's just really important that HomeWorks is just giving us an opportunity to be able to be there for each other as sisters and just uplift each other.
And did you guys know?
No, pretty much, it was like, a couple of us were like, related, but for the most part, all of us didn't really know each other, we came from like different camps and stuff. So we didn't really know each other prior to that.
What do you enjoy most about the boarding program?
I just like that we were just basically a family. Like, I had like all the sisters, like no brothers. Like, I just didn't have to worry about them. But we were just so friendly to each other. It's like I could really call them my sisters. So, and the one thing that we did that was fun was the self-defense class because I got to kick people.
They're forcing me to talk, so one thing I loved was the food. Like, all y'all parents can cook. Oh my god, it was so good. It was like on the first day. And I also liked the self-defense program as well, because, yeah, I got to hit people. And also, I was able to charge my phone there. Like, I couldn't find an outlet because they all took it from me. Then I just, like, spotted the one lucky last one. I said that wrong now.
What I really liked about HomeWorks was because I'm the only child, there's really not much to do. So when I met most of my sisters and stuff like that, it was really like a nice bond to actually have because I don't really have friends, you know, the fake friends and stuff like that. So yeah, it was actually good to find a real friendship, and it was a great experience, and I would try it again.
HomeWorks was just like an opportunity for me to prepare for like, you know, future things. Like, you know, when I'm planning on going to college, you know, I plan on staying on campus. So that gave me an opportunity to just, you know, learn how to adapt to being around different girls and stuff. So it was like an early life lesson for from that. And then, like I said before, it was just fun being able to, you know, sleep in a room with someone else you just get to know and that you just grow with. Like, it wasn't very long, but over those, what 4 weeks? Yeah, over those 4 weeks, you know, you get to find new things about yourself and about the other person, and you guys just grow and you just build together.
Last question.
How did you get the idea to make the classes nonprofit organization?
So I have the luxury of getting glasses, but not a lot of people. From what I see in my classes, from what I see, a lot of people can't see and stuff like that. People, from the rising cost of glasses, it's like really a lot of money. And I wanted to do something for a change because from what Miss Natalie did, it really inspired me to do something new for the community because our community lacks a lot of things. So I really wanted to change just a little bit because just a little bit of change can brighten somebody's day. So what we do is just set up donation boxes everywhere and just need a little help.
Kirby House for the past 2 years, if you have visited them during Kirby Quesadilla Night, the profits are going to HomeWorks. And we have Hunter and Isabel to present a check to Natalie and the HomeWorks Association. We're going to take one quick picture.